first testimony tonight is from Andreé. She was born in the capital of Gabon, and her father is from Cameroon, and her mother is from Gabon, and she has 2 younger siblings.
I'm gonna grade you in the way we grade in Gabon, even though it could be in different dialect, but that's the national one. Mbolo. Mbolo. Just like Brian said, yes, I'm from Gabon. I was born in Libreville, which is the capital of Gabon. And I think a lot of you guys know already where I'm from and stuff. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit how I came to know Jesus. And I know I've talked about it last time, and some people didn't really hear it. So, but before I get there, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my family, which is my mom, because this whole thing started with her journey. My mom is just Gabonese. She's from Gabon. Her family is from there. The thing is, where she was born from a poor family, or my 2 different tribes, Punu, even though they speak the same language, and Vungo. It's almost like British English and American English. Some words you guys said differently, but it means the same thing, you know. So she was born in a small village. Growing up, her mom did not want to raise them. So basically, she was left with my great-grandmother, who ended up raising my mom and her older sister. And my grandma left them and went and did her life, basically. So where my mom grew up with my great-grandmother was not easy. They were into cult practices. So they practiced witchcraft. So she was around this type of things. So she was already terrified when she was younger, you know, had bad dreams, feeling like there was always a presence of something there, you know. So she grew up with that. So basically in her teen, they moved to Libreville, which is the capital. You know, she lived there, and when she was 19, she got pregnant with me. So when she got pregnant, and plus from a foreign dad, and he wasn't wealthy either, so it wasn't really going well. And my mom she was already messed up in her mind from all these things that she's experienced in her life. So she tried to have an abortion of me. So she did take medicine. It didn't work out. She tried something else. I know this because she confessed that to me, that I didn't think I was going to have you because, you know, I tried to have an abortion. So, but the Lord did not allow that. So she, you know, I didn't come out, so basically she stayed pregnant, and her family was really furious that she's gotten pregnant with a Cameroonian man. And at the time, you know, it was more the time where in Gabon, it's more culture. You get to marry with your own ethnic group. It was not really open to be married to, you know, going out with somebody from another tribes. Even if you were Gabonese, it was just better if you marry a Punu or if you marry somebody from the same tribe. So it looked kind of weird if you, especially again, a foreigner. So, but anyway, so I was the first grandchild for my family. So basically my mom really, I don't know, she didn't know how to raise me. So basically I was raised in the family right there. But since my mom's family was doing a lot of cult practices, their plan was to also give me into cults. So this is from my father's testimony. when I got to, because I never really got to meet my dad, but when he did, he told me, this is when I was, I don't know how old I was still a baby, but maybe 1 year old, and I lost conscious. And they didn't know what was going on. It's not like I was sick. I lost conscious, and they tried to go to the hospital. Nothing was, trying to bring me back. So my dad went to the family, my mom's family, and began to talk. And he says, if you take my daughter, you'll have to take me too, because this is my daughter. I didn't sign any pact with you, so you can't take her. So in the evening, I came back. I was back to myself. So they were going to offer me to whatever the practices is. So after that, I grew, but nobody thought that I was going to be okay, because I was growing up as a baby. I was like an isolated child. I didn't really talk. I looked like a child who's not gonna make it, basically. I was really, anybody could tell, like, okay, this child, we know, whatever at a certain age probably would die. Because my mom's family was already aiming on me, that they want to offer me to the witch or whatever. I know in the last class we did talk about animism. Basically, it's one of those practices with witchcraft. But in my culture, is more in a spiritual realm. You sign a pact with the enemy, and something happened, they give it to whomever. If the voodoo doctor says that they want a child or they want a person, in order for so-and-so to become, either have a good position, whether it's a job or to be respected, and the witchcraft doctor would tell them, well, we need a sacrifice. And then that would be it. And if that family isn't protected, so basically it's easy, especially within the family, because there is also rules within that. You can't go and do witchcraft on somebody else family. If you're not part of it has to be within that family. So basically but because my dad spoke, so they don't know his family. They don't know what type of, maybe he's in a witchcraft, who knows, and they don't know exactly how would they be. So by him speaking, basically he spared my life. So anyway, after that, my mom got her a teaching certificate. So she fled away from her family. She took me, and we went to Lambaréné, which is one of the provinces in Gabon. And my mom thought there, because she just wanted to be away from her family. She ran as far as she can, but everywhere she goes, there was always like a presence that she felt. She was always tormented by the spirit. She was never herself. Everything was, we couldn't sleep with no lights on, because we felt like if we turn off the light, something will come in. So it was always very scary. So I'm sorry if I get a little emotional. So anyway, my mom, Lambaréné, and then she decided to move again further away to a village where it was like an island. And she accepted to teach places where she could teach maybe 3 classes by herself, because a lot of teachers didn't want to go there, places where nobody want to go. Just because she wanted to be far away from her family, thinking that by her being away, maybe, their practices would not attend her. But these were spiritual things, it comes in. So, and over there, she also tried to see if she could find voodoo doctor too, to help her protect us or something. He didn't really do anything, because they're part of the same thing. So after that, after living in that particular town for probably a year and a half, my mom, she had to always travel to Libreville to get her money in the capital, because at the time there was no bank at the place, so there was nothing. So she always had to travel. So when she went, and she would leave us with her cousins when she goes to Libreville. And at the time, she met my stepdad. She happened to meet my stepdad. He was not a good man. So he was just the worst luck and stuff. And but she felt like this is the man for her and everything. We were already born with my sibling, so that was not our dad. So so she told us that, okay, we're not gonna live anymore in that village. We're gonna move in Lambaréné, but the city, you know, it was bigger city and stuff, and end up living with the in-laws. So living there, it was not, I didn't really like my stepdad, didn't respect him because I didn't think he was a good man. He was cheating on my mom when she wasn't there, and he had done really bad things to me. So I couldn't go tell my mom because her mind was messed up. She just needed a place where there was peace, where somebody could accept her. But everywhere she went, she was rejected. Sorry. Thank you. So anyway, she ended up still marrying this man, even though we told her that we didn't like him. And she married him. Maybe a year later, I don't know, my mom began to see all these stuff. She wasn't happy, but she didn't know with us being there what she was gonna do. So I don't know what got into her mind, even though she was never part of our family. She's never been running away from her family. One day she decided to stop at my great-grandmother. I don't know why. When she came back, it was not the same mom. She basically lost her mind. She didn't know who we were. She didn't recognize us. She literally went crazy. So when she came, she basically didn't want to eat. She didn't know my sister, nor myself, or my brother. Basically now I'm the oldest, so basically I had to be able to take care of my brother, even though we were living with this family, but they weren't really nice to us. They were nice to us when because my mom was working and she was paying for everything, and my stepdad, he wasn't working. So when my mom made money, we looked, oh yeah, everybody liked us. But when she didn't have a way to go and get our money. So basically, we were neglected. Anyway, with that being said, so we went to a Catholic church school. So I grew up going to a Catholic school. And going to a Catholic school or church, I was taking catechism and stuff. But I've heard about Jesus. It was a totally different way. All I knew about Jesus was just the baby Jesus, you know. That's all I knew. I didn't know that Jesus, you know, died and rose again. Didn't know all about that. All I knew is like baby Jesus. And so I remember having a teacher who talked about the gospel, but in a different way. But I was so young. He used to talk about Jesus in a way that, oh, a man can come in your house and stuff like that, but it didn't really make sense to me. But I liked that side of going to church because it made me feel at peace. singing the song. I felt really good. But when we go home, it was just fear. Because you don't know how you're going to sleep. And the area where we slept, we used to see really bad things. And me, ever since I was born, I feel like I'm always having bad dreams. I always had nightmares. There was not a night where I go to sleep where I wouldn't have nightmares. It's always there was somebody behind me, somebody trying to kill me, somebody constantly. And living with our stepdad's family, I don't know, they said they were Christian, but then they were also doing their own practices. And there were stuff that we would see, sometimes you just see a snake and then all of a sudden you don't see it. It's just like these things that you live in fear. Like I saw a snake, and then all of a sudden you don't see it. It was just stuff like that. And sometimes you're scared to go in the room by yourself. Like we had to constantly leave, had, lights on, because otherwise we were afraid that something would come in or something was there. And sometimes when I will have a dream about a snake, and the next day, yes, I will see a snake in my bed. So some of the things that I dreamed of were things that were happening. So when my mom lost her mind, and God's sake, we had our neighbors that were Pentecostal. And they had heard about, my mom being sick, and because when that happened, I would say my step-grandma or whatever, invited all these people that did cult, like dancing, chanting, inviting all those spirits to trying to see if it could cast out the spell that was upon my mom. But it didn't happen. It was just worse. Nothing like, it was just like nothing happened. It was just a dance or whatever. So they basically, those Pentecostal had heard, so-and-so is sick and stuff. So they came in and they asked if they could pray for my mom. And before they asked, they started sharing the gospel. And that was the first time. They didn't want us to hear it, but I was really curious. And I heard them talking about Jesus in a different way. And I was really questioning myself, is that the Jesus that I hear? Like, who was a baby and he grew? So it was really different to me. But this Jesus, the way they talked about Jesus with the zeal, he was strong, he's able. And for me in my heart, and I said, I want to know this Jesus. If this Jesus is more powerful than witchcraft, I want to know him. Because I'm looking for somebody who's bigger than that. So it was in my heart, I accepted Jesus with not somebody guiding me how to. But I do know that God heard me. Because in his word, he says, if you search me, you will find me. So in my heart, I had declared that I want that Jesus. So they prayed for my mom, and during that time, nothing happened. He didn't see anything. But for me, I didn't care anymore. I just heard what they said, and I said, I'm going to believe in this Jesus. So I had declared from my heart that Jesus was my Lord and Savior, just what they asked for my mom to do. And they went their way. But me, I stopped praying the way I was taught to pray in Catholic. I was just talking to God, just exactly how these people were praying, to God, to help us and everything. So one day I remember playing with my sister. We used to play with these little bugs, since we didn't have toys. So we play with bugs, and I tied a string on the bug and hers and shook it, and it will fly. And because it's really humid in Gabon, really hot, just almost like Houston, And so when you shake it, it will fly and it makes like a breeze, it feels like it's a fan. It's your little fan, Yeah, exactly. Maybe this is how they come up with the fan idea. So, so, so I did that for my sister. Mine was just kind of moving, wasn't doing anything. I tried shaking it, nothing. And the thought came in, Jesus can do anything. And I was like, oh yeah, I remember. And I said, in the name of Jesus, work. And it flew. So, and for me, it again increased my faith, believing that this Jesus is true. So I began to really believe in Jesus. And as it goes on, my neighbor, one of my best friends, her brother was sick. He's like 1 year old. And she came and told me that my brother is sick and he's not really feeling well. It's fever and it's really high. And I told her about what happened. She told me, I saw those people, Pentecostal. How could you have them? They're really weird, the way they pray, the way they cry. And I said, well, yes, I heard them. But, they told me about Jesus and I talked and I was playing with the bug and Jesus did this. She goes like, you believe them? I'm like, yeah. Jesus did that. And I say, if you want, I can pray for your brother, but you have to take him, because I didn't want anybody to see. So I say, bring him by the river, and I will lay hand on him, and Jesus will heal him. She said, you believe that? And I'm like, yes, I believe. So she brought her brother, and I lay hand. All I said, Jesus, heal this baby in Jesus' name, and that's it. But it wasn't like we could see if the baby was healed. So she took her little brother back. In the afternoon, her mom had taken the baby to the hospital. And when they got there, they said, well, whatever he had is gone. So my friend came back and she said, Andreé, your prayer worked. I think this Jesus really healed my brother. And so for me, it kept increasing my faith that, yes, Jesus is really true. So during that time, since we were staying with my in-law, my mom's in-law, and my mom's situation was not well. So basically, my stepdad didn't even care. He left us. So my mom's family came and took us away. My mom had a uncle, which is my great uncle at the time. He was a governor, and these are people that use a lot of cold. These are the people that oppress my mom in spirit, and here they come to try to take us away. And the only family we've known, it was just our mom. There was nobody, because my mom never introduced us to her family. She was just running away, and here they come to take us away from my mom. It was the hardest thing. I remember we were crying because we never been separated from our mother before. Even though if she was sick, we'd rather be there with her. But this time, they had to take us away. And we went to a place where we didn't even know. We didn't know the people, but we only have heard the negative things that my mom have told us about her family, how they've been always trying to oppress her, put her in bondage spiritually. So we go there with my sister and my brother. Of course, this family is wealthy, and my great uncle, the governor. I mean, the governor in Gabon, it's like being a president. You basically own the whole province, basically. Because it's all in your authority and stuff like that. And he was also he had 2 wives and stuff. Because polygamy exists in Gabon, they allow that. So going there was hard, because this is the man that I kept seeing in my dream. And now I'm going to live in his house. And this is the man, every time I go to sleep, will ask me, why don't I die? Why can't I die? Every time I dream, it was always, why can't you die? Why can't you die? But now I know, because God spared my life. And he knew that there was no way that they could attack me. But they didn't want me to know Christ. So here we are in his house. Things were not going well. He was always in front of people, mocking me, shaming me. I was the most hated child in that house. I used to ask myself, why does he hate me? Why? I'm new, I never done anything to his life. Why does he hate me so much? I mean, I was really hated. So for him, he told me that you can't stay here. So he had to move me to the capital. And I was going to be separated from my two siblings, which was another hard thing. Once I got separated, I went to Libreville to live with his sister, who also does cult practices. Living over there, it was a mockery. She would say, let's pray. But for her, we will pray. For her, it was just a mockery. Because at night, she will attack me. I will wake up in the morning. I think I was about maybe 8 or 9. I will pee in my bed. And because the oppression was too strong. But anyway, I never kept praying the way these Pentecostals taught me how to pray. The way I heard them pray, so I kept just praying like that. So anyway, one day I happened to go to my aunt, who's married to an American, and when she saw me, which is my mom's older sister, when she saw me and she said, you're not going anymore. I'm not going to let you go with them. So she kept me. And my aunt was going to a church, and that's where I publicly accepted Jesus. And they started doing prayer on me, and I started praying for my family, my sibling. But after that, that was pretty much the last time I saw my sister. With my mom, she was able to, her mother went and picked her up where she was and brought her to Libreville, was able to see her before I came to the United States. But my mom had a lot of change of heart. I guess somebody was ministering, these Pentecostals kept ministering to her, because she came to her senses asking me forgiveness, because the way she was towards me. My mom was really violent when I was young. She will grab me, hit me in the wall. If she doesn't see blood, she will not stop. I remember one time she threw a knife, and I still have that thing here. The knife went inside my body. And it's just to show how God has been sparing my life. No matter how many times the enemy wanted me to die. But the whole thing, now that I know about Christ, because today I am the one interceding for my family. The enemy knew that. He knew that by God sparing me, I was able to be the line to take my family to Christ. Because today, now, despite the attack, but now my mom's family is afraid. Because they seen the power of Christ in me. They seen that why didn't we kill her since she was young? Today, they can't do that. When they see me, they just put their head down because they know they can't anymore. Because Christ, I know now the power that is in me. Before I didn't know. Once you know who Christ is, your behavior will be different from somebody who's trying to attack you. So I just want to bless you. Amen.
Thank you so much, André. We got to hear her story and a little bit more about Gabon in our spring class that is up on YouTube. If you want the link, let me know. I feel like we would be remiss if we didn't intercede for your family and join you in that. So could we just pray for one moment for André and your family? Lord, we thank you for this amazing story of how you bring us from death to life and how you preserve our life even when people seek us out to kill us and to destroy us. We know that that's what Satan comes to do, to kill and destroy. We know that you bring life. So God, I just